When I was 13, I was using my dad's phone, and I was dumb and very clearly wrong when I opened a text that popped up from my stepmom. She was a few months pregnant at the time. A few texts up I saw that my dad had sent a text saying, "Alice, my mom, is being an idiot again. I'm so glad I get to have a baby with someone I actually love." To which my stepmom replied, "And I can't wait to have a kid without her awful genes mixed in." Which my dad found very funny based on his response. The reason I remember these texts so clearly is because I sent a copy of them to my mom. I knew my dad and mom hated each other, but I felt extremely insulted and betrayed by the texts because they directly involved me. I refused to stay at my dad's house ever since, and when my dad took my mom to court, I told the judge that I can't live with him anymore. My dad and stepmom spent a very long time apologizing. He does seem genuinely sorry because he has cried in front of me. But I can't really bring myself to forgive him. I also know I shouldn't have snooped. But I can't unsee those texts. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. He ruined his own relationship with you. It was the idiot move for him to laugh. You were 13, a little snooping can be excused. Don't feel bad about it. You learned how they really saw you and got out of spending time with someone who walks about you like that. You were 13, they were grown adults. They should have known better. It wouldn't hurt for you to ask him why he didn't defend you. Why he allowed her to insult you. But you don't have to. Not the idiot, and I actually think that it's a good thing that you forwarded the messages to your mom. Proof can be important for custody and proving that it actually happened. Also, your mom is there to protect you. It was wrong to snoop, of course, but sending the text to your mom isn't a bad thing for a 13 years old to do. I would want you to if you were my kid. You obviously trust her enough to talk to her about this. I'm not sure what your heart feels now that you are 19, but eventually we tend to be able to have a mature view of an entire situation. I'm not defending anyone's actions or reactions. Just saying, if you want to forgive and move toward a better relationship, you can. You can even forgive and move on with your life and no contact. It's entirely up to you. Just do forgive and figure it out. I want your heart to be less broken. I, 27, was in a relationship with Eric, 28, for the past 4 years. I love him. I honestly and truly do, and this has been the most sacred relationship I've ever been in. The love I have for him can easily exceed this 3,000-word limit. He died a month ago. If I sound weird about it, I'm sorry, but I miss him, and I don't really want to accept that he's gone. Eric's mother disowned him when he was outed, back in 2008. He lived with a friend of his for a while, and then got his own apartment, and we met in senior year of university, talked on and off, fell in love, we dated. His dad, who passed away shortly after we began dating, was on good terms with me and him, and gave Eric 2 old engagement rings that's from his mom and dad, Eric's grandparents, in case marriage was ever a thing. Eric and me never wanted to marry, but last year, we put a chain through each ring and wore them as necklaces, and they were a promise to each other. Okay, 2 years ago, though, Eric and his mother began talking. I'll admit, I don't really like her for what she put Eric through, but I met her once or twice and was civil enough, but it wasn't like I was dying for her approval. When he died, I didn't know what to do. Here is where the idiot behavior might begin. The engagement ring that he wore, I added it to my chain, so I wear both as a necklace. Well, his mother came by yesterday to take some of his belongings for sentimental purposes. We texted and agreed on that, so it's not like I mind with everything, and she asked me if I was going to give her the necklace. I told her that no, I wasn't, and she began arguing with me, saying I had no right to withhold this from her, that it was stolen from the family, and that it was a reminder of both her husband and her son, and I was a complete idiot, and I needed to hand her the necklace over, or at least both rings, and I refused, because it's my flip-pin necklace, and he was my flip-pin boyfriend. She got mad and said I can't believe my son loved that F, and I snapped and told her to get the hell out and slammed the door shut. Eric's brother messaged me on Facebook to tell me I'm an insensitive prick and that they were all grieving the loss of their son, and my friends pointed out that too, and I can't tell if grief and resentment is making me blind to this, so am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Eric's dad gave him the rings for when he was ready to make a promise to someone. Sure, he had marriage specifically in mind, but you and Eric chose what form of promise you wanted for you. He gave you one of the rings as a promise. Dad gave them to Eric, Eric gave them to you. There was no stealing involved. They are yours and have immediate and specific meaning and carry an important memento of your relationship. I'm sorry for your loss, and I hope the situation can be resolved peacefully without bringing you too much more grief. Eric's father gave his own rings to you too. They belong to Eric's dad and his side of the family. They never belonged to Eric's mother. Carrying his ring that he wore around his neck seems like a very normal thing to do. A lot of people carry the wedding ring of a parent, grandparent or loved one that has died. I know people who do that. She should get some sentimental items to remember her son by, but she has no right to demand the ring that symbolized your love for each other. It seems like she still hasn't accepted the fact that her son was gay and that you loved each other, and I'm sorry you had to deal with that, and I'm sorry for your loss. I hope you won't be bothered by toxic people and that you're able to find peace. First, I am so sorry for your loss. Eric's father gave him the rings, and you used them as a symbol to solidify and cherish your love for one another. They are from his dad's side of the family. Eric's mom has no claim to the rings. Yes, I get that she is grieving, but she has other mementos that she can hold on to. Her trying to take away something that held and holds a strong emotional meaning to the two of you seems cruel to me. You shouldn't give in, and you should definitely stand your ground. My brother's been dating this girl Julie for 6-ish months. They live quite far, so we have never met Julie. I'm living with my parents at the moment. Brother and Julie arrived last weekend for a 2-week visit. Brother gave us the heads up before they came that Julie didn't like to be touched. When they arrived, we hugged brother but respected her space and gave her a friendly wave. I honestly didn't have any sort of issue, and I don't think my parents did either. Throughout this week, though, it's become clear that this isn't just a normal boundary. Julie is extreme in her reactions. No one has intentionally touched her, mind you. There was an incident a day in where my dad brushed up against her in the kitchen and she had a complete fit. She was hyperventilating and freaking out. Brother managed it since he was right there, but it was pretty concerning. Since then, the entire house has been walking on eggshells around her. If you so much as walk in her direction, she will take this deep audible breath and just stare wide-eyed. Making eye contact with her is 50-50 on whether she will start to get all freaked out. Now the house is pretty small. It's quite difficult for 5 adults to operate when one of them is a step away from a conniption. We have all tried our best over the week to accommodate her, but it's definitely gotten on everyone's nerves. Last night my parents were confiding to me how uncomfortable they were in their own home. I feel the same, obviously. It's not that Julie doesn't want to be touched, it's that she always assumes we are trying to touch her whenever we look at her or walk in her direction. It's incredibly tense to be in the same space as her because she looks at you like you're some monster trying to hurt her. I decided to talk to my brother today and ask if Julie was okay. He insisted that Julie is totally fine and apparently having a good time. He straight up refused to acknowledge that she was making us uncomfortable and basically told me to back off. I waited till the evening and talked to Julie. I managed to catch her alone and talk to her from a distance. I basically just said that the family have all been really uncomfortable with her reactions. Again, not that she doesn't like touching, but that she is so extreme in her fear towards us. I tried to be sympathetic and kind in my words, but she did not react well. She started crying and just said that she didn't know we hated her and she was doing her best. I ended up just apologizing for mentioning it and escaped to my room. My brother came to yell at me shortly after that. He gave me a thorough telling off and basically called me a huge idiot. I haven't spoken to my parents, but I'm pretty confident they would be on my side here. From a third-party perspective, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your brother is the idiot. He knew how extreme her reaction to an accidental touch is. He shouldn't have brought her, especially for so long, to your home, which he presumably knew was small and would make accommodating her extreme needs difficult, and that her paranoia would make anyone uncomfortable in their own home. If someone's behavior is making you uncomfortable, in your own home no less, you have a right to discuss it with them politely. Your brother is idiot. Well, I understand the no touching rule and it's maybe totally valid. It's completely asinine to be doing that in someone else's house, past trauma be damned. She needs either some serious therapy or a serious talking to from your brother that the people in the house are friendly, not family, because 6 months of dating and not a mountain lion who's looking at her like she's dinner. And to do that as a guest in a home? I'm sorry, but she's an adult, and if it's that bad for her, she needs to respectfully remove herself from the situation. Try again in another 6 months. Not the idiot. Your brother is the absolute idiot here. If he's been with her for 6 months before bringing her to meet y'all, he knew about her PTSD and issue with people touching or being near her. He couldn't even address what you had said to her. I highly doubt he's encouraging her to get treatment either. I don't see too much fault in her, as she may not realize how over the top she's being due to people like your brother shutting everyone else's discomfort down while enabling her own. Let's just say my mother has issues. Extreme issues. We're really struggling financially and she is going well off the deep end in order to compensate. For example, she will spend all her food stamps money in one go. I mean cartfuls of food and food products. Right down to the very last cent. She then stuffs the fridge, freezer, and pantry so full of food that the house is bursting at the seams. Then, get this, she will literally touch nothing until everything goes bad. She buys hundreds of dollars worth of food, go out to eat instead of using anything she bought, and we end up throwing everything out. I tried telling her to ration the food stamp money throughout the month. Not blow it all in one day, and not touch anything she bought. So you have a bit of an idea of what I'm dealing with here. To me, it seems like she packs the house full of stuff in order to ignore the reality of our financial situation. The hoarding is her way of putting up barriers, veiling herself from the truth. Another aspect of her denial is the local food pantry. She insists on going every week, even if we don't have room for anything. Guess what happens to that entire car full of food? Waste. Goes in the trash. I tried telling her to stop, but she refuses to. Week after week of throwing food out is finally getting to her, because now she goes to the pantry, gets the food for free, and resells it for money. Which, if I'm not mistaken, is illegal. Not sure if it's better than throwing all the food out, because she'd rather have McDonald's than a home-cooked meal. Then she found out from her friend that you can go back through the pantry more than once if you're sneaky about it. So she's been trying that. It was at this point I called the pantry and told them what's going on. I reported my mother anonymously. She has since been banned from the pantry. I know the concept is great and we could benefit from it, but I don't want my mother taking full advantage of kindness and compassion of volunteers working for a good cause. Yeah, it was a shot in the foot, but one I feel was necessary. Not the idiot. I'm sorry you're going through tough times, but your mom is exploiting a system made to help people who cannot afford necessities. She's taking from other people in your shoes and wasting it, or worse, taking advantage of those same people by having them pay for the food she took. You did the right thing in reporting her, if only to stop the exploitation. Hey, I work at a food bank. I'm so sorry for your situation. People don't realize that poverty can take such a huge toll mentally. I think you did the right thing letting them know, but I would call them and fully explain your situation and see if they have any recommendations. There may be kitchens that you could go to for a cooked meal once a week, for instance, or they may be able to help your mother get care for her mental health. Please believe me that her behavior, although erratic, is by no means unique. We see people do this a lot as a reaction to scarcity, and they will not be surprised or judge you for it. Truth is, you both need support. Sad situation. My parents hoard food, only to end up going out to eat most of the time as well. Both are unemployed, and I don't know how they pay for it. But honestly, it's going to be exhausting to get in between your parents and behaviors like this. Likely your mom will just find another pantry. Hoarding is a serious mental health condition, and I recommend you move out as soon as possible, and don't try to fix it, because it will drain you. I, 27, have 2 sons. My oldest is 6 and my youngest is 2. My sister, 31, has 2 daughters ages 9 and 7. Up until a year and a half ago we lived in different states. Then she moved back and I started spending some more time with my nieces, and it was horrible. First time. Took all the kids to McDonald's and the oldest threw a fit because she didn't get the toy she wanted. She was yelling and saying I needed to buy her another meal to get her the toy. She tantrumed all the way back to my sister's house. During this the youngest kept throwing food too and wouldn't stop when told to. Second time. My sister and I took the kids to the zoo. The youngest spat in my oldest's ice cream because he got the last of the flavor she wanted. My sister made very little deal out of it and shrugged it off. The oldest told my oldest that's the reason you give them what they want. Third time. Was going shopping, sister asked me to take the girls for the afternoon because things came up, had them in the car, and they both threw a fit because they didn't want to go grocery shopping, and then they kept kicking the cart when I was going around. The youngest tried to break something so we would be made leave. I stepped into discipline many times and got told I was not their mom and they didn't have to listen to me. I ended up dropping them back with their dad. Fourth time. Brought all 4 kids to the park and they didn't want to stay because they thought we were going to a water park. They did everything they could to ruin my oldest having fun, and then when I pulled them back and said if they couldn't play nice or entertain themselves, which I tried to get them to do, they would run in different directions and yell. So we left after less than half an hour. Final time. They were at my house, so my sister and her husband could have a date night. They wouldn't eat the food I prepared, nuggets and fries, because they wanted pizza. They didn't want apple pie, they wanted chocolate cake for dessert. They were spitting in everyone else's food and throwing it on the floor. I got the same attitude when giving discipline, and they started yelling when they weren't getting their way. This lasted all night. They wouldn't go to bed. Didn't sleep. Woke both my kids up. Each time I sat and spoke to my sister and she seemed to take it seriously, especially after I pointed it out after the zoo incident, and then the last time she shrugged it off as kids will be kids. And I told her if that's how they behave, then I'm not going to have them in my home or take them anywhere. She said that was fine. Then after she returned to work post-lockdown she asked me to help out in a few emergencies which I said no to, and she called me an idiot for not helping. But the way they behave I am not willing to sign up for that. Especially if she's going to shrug it off. Am I the idiot? That is feral. Assuming they're neurotypical, I truly don't understand how your sister and her husband aren't deeply alarmed. If your kids spend too much time with them, there's virtually no way it won't cause them to develop issues. They're already getting bullied. Your sister has the right to raise, or not, her kids however she wants, and you have the right to do the same. If her parenting is negatively impacting yours, then drawing a line is perfectly fair. She can't get mad, respect for each other's lifestyles cuts both ways. I would hold extremely firm on it if I were you and only restore her babysitting privileges if you see actual change, not just hear promises about it. She agreed to your terms, but now wants to back out when it's inconvenient. If she really wants you to take them for whatever reason, she needs to get them to behave. It's not like you're the only person who can watch them, babysitters exist. Also, does she let them treat her that way? I can't imagine she's putting up with all that spitting and screaming and refusing food on a daily basis. She needs to teach her children how to behave and respect the people around them. Totally don't blame you for not wanting to watch them again. She's what's wrong with children who act out cause they are never corrected or disciplined. She can deal with them when they're older and want a brand new car at 16 and top of the line clothes.